Hello everyone and welcome to another video from Kazoom. I'm quality engineer for Deep Productions, Andres Reles, and today we're continuing with our Minitab Basics for Beginners online course. As I always say, if you haven't watched lessons 1 through 6, please stop this video right now and watch those lessons first before continuing with this video. Now, we've already talked about the Minitab interface. We've already talked about the basic hypothesis test you need to know how to execute. We've talked about data normality, non-normal data examples, and we also did some regression analysis on our last lesson. For today's lesson, we're going to focus on ANOVA studies, which stands for Analysis of Variance. So ANOVA studies are contained within Minitab. If we select the Stat option, you're going to find ANOVA, and then we have a lot of different options. The basic ANOVA analysis that you need to know how to execute are here in the top section. The first one being a one-way ANOVA analysis. So I'm going to select this option right here that says one-way. Then I'm going to select each data is in a separate column for each factor. I'll explain what that means in a little bit, but for now, I'm just going to select my C1 column and my C2 column, and then I'll click on the OK option. This is going to execute my ANOVA analysis. But what even is an ANOVA analysis? Well, ANOVA stands for Analysis of Variance. It is this little table right here. This is an ANOVA. When I was originally in college, they would force us to do this table manually. There are a couple of key ways to do it manually, but thankfully we have computer programs, so you don't need to do it by hand. The important thing to understand is that we have something called degrees of freedom. Okay, degrees of freedom is simply how many samples you took minus 1. We always want to have a large amount of degrees of freedom because that is what allows us to properly estimate the error of our data. So if I go here, and let's clear this up and scroll all the way down, you're going to notice that in total I have 100 data points here in DIM 1 and another 100 data points here in DIM 2. Since I'm analyzing DIM 1 and DIM 2, in total I took 200 samples. N minus 1 would mean 200 minus 1, this will be 199. So in total, I have 199 degrees of freedom. Now, these degrees of freedom are used by Minitab to properly estimate how likely or not it is that our hypothesis is met or not. The one-way ANOVA analysis is an analysis of data means. So it's analyzing mean 1 against mean 2. Similar to what we would do if we had a two-sample t-test hypothesis test. Now from here, I look at something known as my p-value. If this p-value is above 0.05, similar to what I did with a two-sample t hypothesis test, I would conclude that there is no difference between the population of mean 1 and the population of mean 2. Remember, we're talking about the overall total population. Okay? So when I take samples, I have sample 1 and sample 2. I'm not asking if the means of sample 1 and sample 2 are identical. I'm asking if it's more likely than not that the mean of sample set 1 population is the same as the population of sample set 2. Okay? Now from here, if I scroll a little bit down, I'm going to notice that I have my means calculated. So the mean 1 is 15.006. Mean 2 is 14.867, and there is a mathematical difference between them, but there might be overlap in the overall total population. This is what we call an interval plot. An interval plot is showing me the mean of my sample set, and it also shows me the confidence interval of where we expect the population mean to be properly located. If there is overlap between the expectation of, let me just make this one a little bit easier for you guys to visualize, something like this, there we go. If there is overlap here, then that means that it is possible. It doesn't mean it's going to be perfectly aligned, but it is possible that the population mean of population 1 is equal to the population mean of sample 2. Okay? They might not be. For example, dimension 2 might have a mean all the way over here, which does not have overlap, but about a 50-60% chance that there is the same mean between both sample sets. Now, this is a basic ANOVA analysis, and you might say, well, isn't this the same as just doing stat basic to sample t and then saying C1 against C2? And if I scroll down here, I get my p-value 0.353. And if I review my ANOVA analysis, my p-value is also 0.353. So what gives, right? If you've been following my lessons, you might say, well, why don't I just do this as a 2-sample t-test and get it over with? Well, the advantage of the ANOVA tool is that it allows you to compare multiple different sample sets to determine if the means are similar or different at the same time. So for example, if I wanted to compare C1, C2, C3, C5, C6, for example, and I wanted to do this using a 2-sample t-test, I would do stat, basic, and then 2-sample t-test. And I would have to do C1 against C2, and then I would do C1 against C3, and then C1 against C5, C1 against C6, C1 against C7, and so on and so forth. And then I need to repeat them, C2 against C3, C2 against C5, C2 against C6, C2 against C7, and then C3, and so on and so forth. It gets very time consuming. Remember, I need to challenge only 2 sets at a time. So this one against this one, 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 and this one against this one. And then I need to repeat that, but now for C2. So C2, C2 against C5, C2 against C6, C2 against C7, and then I need to redo it again. C3 against C5, C3 against C6, C3 against C7, and it's very time consuming. So instead of doing a 2-sample t-test, I simply do an ANOVA analysis. So I could select stat, ANOVA, one way, and then from here, I could simply say C1 to C3 space C5 to C7. And with this, as you can see, I'm analyzing each sample set has 100 samples, right? So since I'm analyzing 6 of them, I'm going to have 600 samples. Degrees of freedom equal n minus 1. So 600 minus 1, that would be 599. So in total, 599 sets. Now, what is being analyzed? Dimension 1, dimension 2, text field, C5, C6, and C7. Remember, these are just titles that I added randomly. It doesn't mean that this one is actually a text field. I just placed that name there. Now, if I scroll a little bit down, you're going to notice that I already calculated the mean of each individual sample set that is being analyzed, and each one has a different confidence interval. If all the confidence intervals overlap, then the p-value is going to be above 0.05. If the p-value is below 0.05, it means that at least one or more of the sample set means, populations, are different amongst themselves. Even if I analyze 10 or 15 different data sets, if just one of them is not identical in population to the other ones, then my p-value is going to be below 0.05. So in this scenario, there must be at least one or more that is different. But how could I tell? Well, option 1, I could either look at this table and see which ones overlap, or the easiest way is to look at this interval plot. Here I can tell that dimensions 1, 2, and 3 kind of overlap amongst themselves. So they're likely going to be similar with a p-value above 0.05. here C5 and C7 also have slight overlap, so they're likely to be similar. And population C6 is different from C5 and C7. It might have, it's a little bit close, but it's not actually there, some overlap with this one's. But so long as at least one of these is actually different, the p-value is going to fail. But we always confirm with this interval plot to tell which ones are grouped up and which ones are different. I'm going to create some random data right now. So I'll do calc random data. I'll select normal. I'll select 100 data points and I'll create them between C5 and C10. And I'll give them all the same data mean and the same data standard deviation. I'm going to execute this. And now I'm going to do stat ANOVA one way. And I'm going to select C1 to C10. This is just an example to help you guys visualize. So in total, if I look at all my interval plots, all of them are slightly overlapping. Some of them are a little bit higher, some of them a little bit lower, but they all have areas in common. Okay, so if I look at my ANOVA table, this one right here, you'll notice that the p-value is actually above 0.05. So they are all similar in population, not in sample sets. Remember, each sample set is a set of random data, so it will have a different data mean. But based on the overlap, it is more likely than not that they all come from the same population or similar populations because their overall behavior is similar. Now, if I were to add another data set that is different from the other ones, so let's just do calc, random data, select normal, and I'll place this on C11, and I'll give this another data mean. So let's say this one's going to be 100. And I'm going to add this to my ANOVA analysis. So C11, see you later. So here on C11, you're going to notice that there is at least one element that doesn't overlap with all the other ones, right? So even though all these elements overlap, with just one element that does not overlap, my p-value is going to be below 0.05. So you can see here, p-value is below 0.05. So clearly there is a difference between at least one of the population mean sample sets. Now, this is the basic way of executing an ANOVA analysis, which is your one-way tool. There is an additional tool within ANOVA called Test for Equal Variances. A Test for Equal Variances tool allows you to compare the standard deviation of multiple populations. So from here, I select Test for Equal Variances. I'll select that each one has its own column, and I'll select all my data sets. I'll execute, and this is what we call, again, an interval plot, but for equal variances. If there is overlap between the spaces, then again, there is no statistical difference between the population of standard deviation 1, standard deviation 2, standard deviation 3, and so on and so forth. In this scenario, there is actually a lot of overlap. There isn't a single one of them that is not overlapping. So the p-value is going to be above 0.05. Now, what would have happened if I had a sample set with a different standard deviation? So let's add that here. We'll do calc, random data, normal. I'll select C12. And it's going to have the same mean, 100, but I'm going to give it a standard deviation of 2, for example. So this one is going to be a lot smaller in width. It's going to have the same mean as C11, but a different overall width to it. So I'll do ANOVA, test for equal variances, and I'll add C12 to the analysis. After reviewing the output, you're going to notice that there is a lot of overlap over here, but this one does not overlap with any of the other ones, right? So long as at least one or more of these standard deviation intervals don't overlap with another one, then we're going to fail the ANOVA analysis. And again, remember, failing is not a bad thing. It just means that it is different. So if you look here at the p-value, this p-value right here, let me just clear it up. This p-value is below 0.05. And if I were to confirm that here with this chart, you're going to see that this p-value, again, is below 0.05. Okay, so those are the two most common tools you're going to execute for ANOVA analysis. The first one is to compare data mean 1 against data mean 2 against etc. And this is useful because you don't need to be rerunning the two-sample t-test analysis multiple times. The other common tool is your standard deviation 1 compared against standard deviation 2 compared against standard deviation 3, and so on and so forth. And remember, ANOVA takes its name from this table known as analysis of variance, which we saw here. Analysis of variance, ANOVA. Okay, so that concludes our video for today. I'm quality engineer for New Product Reductions, Andres Ruelas. If you're struggling with any statistical type topics, please send me an email to info@kasum.mx. Thank you very much for your attention and have a wonderful day.